Police believed the killer fled the farm immediately after the murders, but the evidence tells a different story. Someone stayed behind. They ate the family's food. They fed the animals. Smoke continued rising from the chimney, all while 6 bodies lay inside the house. This wasn't just one of Germany's most infamous unsolved murders. It may be one of the only murder cases where the killer lived alongside the victims after they were already dead. This is the Hinterkaifeck Murders. About 70 kilometers north of Munich stood an isolated farm known as Hinterkaifeck. Surrounded by dense woodland and hidden from the nearest roads, the farmhouse sat almost completely cut off from the outside world. In 1922, 6 people lived there. Farmer Andreas Gruber, his wife Cecilia, their widowed daughter Victoria, her 2 young children, and a newly hired maid named Maria Baumgartner. 6 people, no close neighbors, no witnesses. On March 31st, 1922, every one of them would be murdered. But the killings did not begin that night. Days before the attack, strange things started happening around the farm. Andreas Gruber discovered footprints in fresh snow. They came from the forest. They led directly to the farmhouse. But there was one terrifying detail. There were no footprints leading back. Someone had entered the property. No one had left. Then he found a newspaper he had never purchased. No one in the surrounding villages subscribed to it. Someone had brought it there. But who? The family also heard footsteps coming from the attic at night. Andreas searched the house. He found nothing. Or perhaps he simply didn't find the person hiding there. A former maid had already quit months earlier, claiming she constantly heard movement in the attic. She refused to spend another night inside the farmhouse. No one took her seriously. On the afternoon of March 31st, a new maid, Maria Baumgartner, arrived for her first day of work. She had no idea she had walked into one of history's darkest crime scenes. That evening, members of the family began leaving the house one by one. Each was somehow drawn toward the barn, one after another. Investigators believe they were attacked using a mattock, a heavy farming tool belonging to the property. First Andreas, then his wife, then Victoria, then 7-year-old Cecilia. All 4 died inside the barn. The killer then walked calmly back into the house. Inside, 2-year-old Joseph was sleeping peacefully in his cradle. Maria was asleep in her bedroom. Neither survived. 6 victims, 1 weapon, no screams heard by neighbors, no witnesses, only silence. But what happened next is what turned this case into a legend. The murders were not discovered immediately. For almost 4 days, someone appeared to remain inside the farmhouse. The livestock continued to be fed. Meals had been prepared. The fireplace had been used. Someone was living there, sharing a house with 6 dead bodies. On April 4th, neighbors finally entered the property after the family had failed to appear for several days. Inside the barn, they discovered 4 bodies. Inside the house, they found the maid, then little Joseph. The murder weapon was eventually recovered from the barn loft. Despite one of the largest investigations of its time, police never identified the killer. No valuables had been stolen. No convincing motive was ever established. Even today, investigators continue to debate one chilling possibility. Was the killer already hiding inside the farmhouse before the murders? Watching, waiting, planning. If that's true. Hinterkaifeck wasn't just the scene of a massacre. It became the killer's home. Today, the farmhouse no longer exists. It was demolished less than a year later. But nearly a century later, one question still refuses to disappear. Who was hiding inside Hinterkaifeck before the murders even began? If you enjoy true crime, unsolved mysteries, and cases that continue to haunt investigators, subscribe to Cold Clue and join us for the next investigation.